Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boom Bust channel, Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry. Today, doing a recap of our matchup against the Jets. Another Bears victory. Got to be happy with that. Yes, getting into this game. We went into this game without some starters, Khalil Mack, namely, then Allen Robinson, Eric Kush, among those names as well. And so people were really kind of waiting to see how we would do without Khalil Mack. And, it's the Jets, so it's tough. I think they're playing hard this year, but the talent's not there, especially on offense. The offensive line and receivers are just not helping Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold's young. So the defense was just really able to kind of squat on a lot of routes and play the run tough and kind of be good that way. So yeah, it wasn't a huge test, but it was something interesting to see how we would respond. And so, I thought overall the Bears had a solid game. Whenever you come out with a win, of course, that's something you can't complain about. But I think we had a solid effort overall. And so, talking about the defense again, the first half especially, we just really kind of, challenged them and set on the routes. Didn't really feel threatened by Sam Darnold, I would say. Even though he has that arm and that playmaking ability, you could just tell the receivers just haven't been good this year. Their routes weren't that great, and so that plays right into the hands of the Bears when we want to play physical with our corners and we want to shut down things and keep it short and in front of us and rally for the tackle. And so that's really what we got to do today, because they didn't try to test us vertical too much. And I think the Jets understand with that offensive line that they just usually don't have the time to go vertical on teams. But I wouldn't say the Bears were really in Darnold's face most of the game. He had plenty of time. And I've talked about this forever. Without Khalil Mack, the pass rush not there. Leonard Floyd has not, I'm willing to say now, he has not progressed to the point he should have, for this year. And Aaron Lynch, I've been through him away as far as a factor. So yeah, it's not a secret. I know I had a lot of pushback earlier, but I think everybody understands now, like our pass rush is not good. It's really not good without Khalil Mack, or if we're not blitzing or doing something. And honestly, even when we blitzed a lot of times today, I should say, we weren't that great at hitting home with the pressure. So it's something to continue to look at. I think Floyd just has to keep pushing and become a factor, especially when Mac is healthy. And that's really what we got to hang our hat on. Other than that, we're going to have to do some blitzing and stuff once we get to teams with the really good quarterbacks, because we won't have the luxury of playing a team like the Jets every week. So there you go with that. But overall, I think we did pretty well. There's times where our run defense it gets vulnerable up the middle. And I was talking about that last weekend or a few weeks ago, and it'll be something to watch. I think we start holding our gaps a little better as the game went on. But still, I think that power run might be something that would be a little bit of Achilles heel. But the way we're built, we kind of hope the offense puts up points, and that if teams want to kind of grind the clock out, then kind of let them go ahead. But I don't think every game we're going to be in a position to do that. So. But as far as performance today, I thought the secondary is pretty aggressive, pretty sticky on the receivers, pretty solid overall. I give it a B+. And then moving over to the offense. So first half, you kind of had that Trubisky thing. I saw it all over the internet. Everybody was going off on Trubisky. It's interesting. The Bears fans, it doesn't take much for them to get on that. And I feel like Trubisky has lost a lot of people, and I can understand why. He is so frustrated. He's wildly inconsistent. It's because, if you never saw him make good plays, it'd be one thing, but when you see him do good things, and then he doesn't do it consistently, that gets frustrating because you know he can do it. Very much like Cutler. I'm not saying he's Cutler. Everybody likes to say, oh, you call him Cutler. I'm not saying he's Cutler. I'm just saying that aspect is like Cutler. And so it's still his first year in this system though. So, even though if it's his second year in the NFL, it's a completely different staff. So I'm going to give him some more leash. I will say though, we just can't rely on him to win us games at this point, of the season because he loves running, man. I feel like he runs more than Vic. I mean, he runs all the time. And I get it. There's times where everybody's covered up and you make the smart play, but he runs so much. And I mean, that's part of his game. He's got that athleticism, but we all seen those quarterbacks. We know eventually you got to adapt or die. So, but everything else, we had James Daniels starting because Cush was out. And again, those two flip flop usually each game. So Daniels is kind of a part-time starter, but I thought we looked pretty decent. For the most part, there was some pass protection, not James Daniels, but other people where, they could have did a little better job in pass pro. But other than that, I thought we looked pretty solid. I mean, the Jets defense isn't what it used to be. You still got Leonard Williams, who's pretty good, but I think we look pretty good up front. And I'm loving the receivers, man. A-Bomb. I mean, he hasn't like lit it up, but you can see what A-Bomb Anthony Miller is going to become. Like, I'm really excited. And Taylor Gabriel I think he's looked better than he did in Atlanta. And so I'm really liking the way we're using him. And again, we didn't have Allen Robinson, but I thought our receiving core overall looked pretty good. And that's kind of what you thought about when we had these faster, undersized, quicker receivers, a faster, undersized tight end. Then you got Allen Robinson for 50-50 balls and Tariq Cohen. You just think about all the space, all the misdirection, all the speed, and how we could really be explosive. That's kind of the key word. And I think you see it. I think we've been seeing it consistently. Even when Trubisky isn't consistent, we see these explosive plays that this offense should be able to make. And that makes me excited. And I think now that teams are keying in on Cohen and they're realizing that we could pass the ball, I think now Jordan Howard's starting to get better lanes than he was earlier in the season, which people probably was like, Jordan Howard was that guy, so we got to come in keying on him. Now that they're keying other things, Jordan Howard's getting to hit the soft middle a little more. And I mean, he's not prolific. He's not a 1,000-yard rusher like he used to be, or he's not going to be in this system. But I still like that we're starting to work him in more, especially as we get closer to the goal line and things. But Tariq Cohen he's a game breaker. And I mean, it was nice. Sometimes, people got to realize, like, you can do your best guessing off personnel and formations, but coaches don't know what the other team is calling. Like, you can have a number of plays in a formation or personnel group, and you're like, okay, they like this play at this down and distance. So you can do some guesswork, but sometimes you just get lucky and you call the right play against the right defense, or vice versa. And we hit that screen versus them when they had a big blitz, and all the way to the house wide open. So, sometimes it just lucks out that way, but, I liked what our offensive line did. I liked, pretty much everybody. I'm not gonna say I don't like Trubisky. I just think he had an uneven performance like usual. But he's working his way there. It's just some things he do is head scratching. Like, you even heard Tony Romo at one point was like, I don't know what that was. That was random. Like, I don't know why he did that. And so a lot of people try to defend everything he does. And I'm like, there's some things to defend. Some things it's just like, I don't know what he's doing. So he's working though. He's working and he's moving. And again, we got another win. I did like the attitude the defense had even without Khalil Mack, because there's this story or this talk that he's changed the culture or the attitude of the defense. And I don't know about all that, but sorry. So I actually forgot last week. I don't want to forget this week. As far as a grade for the offense, I give them a B, solid B. I don't think we did anything too crazy. And I think we should have scored more against the Jets defense that, Has some playmakers, but isn't, I don't think fit to match up with us. But, yeah, we definitely did the job. So there we go with that. And yeah, so overall, I just like kind of what I saw from the, quote unquote backups. Well, I guess not Aaron Lynch. I didn't like what I saw from him, but the defense as a whole, you know, they held their own without Mac. And offensively, I thought we looked really good in the receiving core, even without Allen Robinson. And really, I mean, you can tell the writing's on the wall. Allen Robinson's not the guy in this offense. It's Cohen and then it's Gabriel. So that'll be interesting to watch as we continue to go on. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Special teams, no real big issues. So yeah. One thing I will say, and I've said this before in different times, different ways, but I'll say it again, is that I see it so much, this whole conversation about, oh, we should have Deshaun Watson, we should have Patrick Mahomes. All I'll say, to be short about it, which I've said many times before, is that situation matters. And so you can't compare, it's not apples to apples, it's apples to oranges. You can't sit here and say, oh, he went here and did this. Obviously, he would have did the same as in Chicago. That's not how it works. There's too many factors around a quarterback that change the outcome. And so just simply picking one of the other quarterbacks would not produce what you see right now. Might be better, might be worse. So let's just not act like that's a logical conclusion, because it's not. So for all those people whining, so wish we had to pick these other quarterbacks, I would hold off on that, is what I'll say. So anyway, what'd you think of the game? Go down in the comment section, let me know. Share it around, get the convo started. Thumbs up, subscribe, remember, stay up and bear down.